everybody.
Thank you, Bill, and thanks everybody. All right, so I had a new roommate move in at the beginning of this month, and he is a strange gentleman. I've met a lot of people in my life who called themselves a bad Jew or a bad Catholic. My roommate is the first person I've ever met that called himself a bad gay. Naturally, I was concerned and asked for a few supporting arguments. He told me that he's a Republican, and I guess that a gay Republican is a thing. I've never heard of that before, but he does not believe in gay marriage. Now, I don't know if you've ever had an argument with a gay man where you try to convince him that he should be able to marry. But it's kind of like being told that abortion is okay by a fetus. You just don't come back from that. And the final reason that he's a bad gay, he has sex with women and is not attracted to men. But I can't really blame him for that. By those standards, I'm also a horrible Filipino. And I'm quite confident that I will go down in history as the world's worst grandmother. So when I was interviewing him, he asked me a very interesting screening question, which was, are you an axe murderer? And I think that that's a very strange, specific concern to have, because you should be more concerned about whether or not your roommate's a murderer than about what he's going to kill you with. I mean, it's not like this guy was going to say, oh, he's going to poison me? That's fine, I'll just hide his syringes and be careful of anything he feeds me. Axe murderer, incidentally, is the only classification that they give to murderers. You never hear anybody talk about a gun murderer or a spear murderer. Which leads me to believe that axe murderers are the snobby elitists of the murder community. You could probably go up to an axe murderer and be like, all right, man, I got your ex-wife tied up in the basement. The walls are soundproof because I know how much you love to hear her scream. All you need to do is take this knife and whoa, whoa, whoa there, Broseph. Whoa there, chieftain. A knife? Do I look like some kind of second-rate hack job to you? You know my motto? If you can't use it to save someone from a burning building or slowly destroy the rainforest, it is beneath me. I've never killed anybody with an axe, but I do have a few vices. I dropped acid for the first time recently. Thank you, thank you. It was a horrible idea. The beaker shattered, there was acid all over the floor. Everything was getting dissolved left and right. It tried to mate with my lemon juice. Not a good idea. I will just stick to alcohol. I had a meeting at work a couple months ago, or a couple weeks ago, and before we got started, one of my coworkers said to the boss, hey, is it cool if I go get a cigarette before we get started? And the boss says, yeah, sure, knock yourself out. And that's a weird phrase. You would think that he'd want us all to be conscious during the meeting. But no, I gotta sit there for 2 hours, sing some lecture about what it means to take pride in your work as a fluffer, while Kyle gets to sit there drooling himself and bleeding out of his ears. Life is not fair. And while we're on the topic of shitty puns, I got one more for you. I'm gonna tell you an old school classical joke. All right, how do you crush the dreams of a child who wants to be an astronaut? You tell him the sky's the limit. All right, done with the puns. I had somebody tell me once, he got really mad and he said he was gonna drop me like a sack of potatoes. And at first, I was very taken aback because that's a very menacing thing to hear from a 12-year-old boy. And then I thought about it. I remembered I dropped a sack of potatoes once. It was not so much menacing as it was just kind of confusing and awkward and shameful for everyone around. Nobody has ever taken a sack of potatoes and gone, fuck you, sack of potatoes! You riboflavin having ass motherfucker! Don't go acting like just because I need you to make French fries means that you own me. I gotta go pick up my set list. I practiced practice that joke without holding my set list in my hand. I didn't think that one through. I think that it's great that we give hurricanes human names, because it's great to humanize vengeful weather. Having a name against it really gives you a nice thing to blame stuff on. There are several women named Katrina that have restraining orders against me because I stand outside their windows all night going, "This is all your fault!" But I think that we need to start giving hurricanes names that we give to our pets. I would love to turn on the news one day and just have the reporter go, "People are struggling to rebuild after the devastation of Hurricane Buttons." The calamity rivals last month when North Dakota was hit by Hurricane Bark Vader. We can only hope that the lessons learned will help us be prepared for the calamity and tragedy of Hurricane Wolfman Rodriguez. Ordinarily, I think that corporations rob us of our independence, but the one time that I'm okay with that is in pet store names. Because pet store chains have very generic names like Petco or PetSmart. But if you let one solitary dog owner come up with a name for a store, you will inevitably get some stupid fucking pun like Bark Avenue or Positively. And it just, seriously, just positively, not like positively fabulous. They came up with a pun and they could not even bother to finish the phrase. I want to spend 3 years of my life working at independently owned pet stores and then become a construction worker just so that I can watch interviewers groan when they read my resume. I'm just so looking forward to the day when some burly foreman looks at a piece of paper and goes, "All right, so you spent 3 months working at Bon Appetit before moving to First Aid. Now, can you tell me about some of the life lessons you learned working at, oh God, Indiana Bones and the Raiders of the Lost Bark?" All right, guys, that's my act. Thank you kindly.